coating.
Well, hello Earthlings. Welcome to Alien Wizard Science Thrift Like a Wizard. I'm your host, Matt Worldly, and I have just teleported back down to planet Earth from my spaceship, and I've only got about a half hour before I have to get back there. So we're going to go into this thrift store. I've never been to this thrift store before. It is one of the ARC thrift stores, and it is Saturday, so that means it is 50% off. And just as a recap, what we're going to do is we're going to go in here and I'm going to show you guys how to see objects in a really different way, in a way that will essentially inspire you to see the world differently. Because once we notice how magical something insignificant can be, I genuinely believe that that opens up a part of ourselves, and that allows us to see the world in a really beautiful way. So that's ultimately what we're trying to do here. So I may go in here, I may not find anything at all, and I may go in here and I may find, who knows, my next best thing. So let's discover some magic together.
Okay, so first things first. If you want to thrift like a wizard, you have to bring a flashlight with you to the thrift store so that you can use it to shine light through objects that will either create really beautiful colored light refraction or really cool textured light refractions. And the good news is you don't have to bring a giant flashlight with you. You can actually use the flashlight on your phone. They work more than perfect, and they're generally really bright. Don't bring a dim flashlight with you, bring a bright one, and when you are testing objects out and shining light through them, make sure you're doing it in a dim area so that you can see the full potential of the object that you're interested in purchasing. Now, if you go to the thrift store and you forget your flashlight or you forget your phone and you find something really dope, whether it has cool texture or a really cool color, you can actually use the light in the store, or you can use the sunlight. Just hold the object up to the sunlight, and if you can see light coming through it, generally that means that you can use it to create stunning light displays. This is a really good example. This globe here I found at Goodwill last year, and I didn't have my phone or my flashlight on me, but I just held it up to the light and I could see right through it, and I could see all the texture, and I knew that when I brought it home that it would do something epic like this. Now, as you guys learn how to thrift like a wizard, you're gonna start to understand which objects are good for what purpose. And these paperweights with the really transparent, cool etchings inside of them, you will need a giant magnifying lens in order to use these objects to their full potential, in order to do stuff like this, like take this small bird and blow it up on the wall this big. But don't worry about these lenses right now. The most important thing is when you guys are thrifting, if you see one of these paperweights with a design etched inside that really resonates with you, snag it, because they're kind of hard to come by, honestly. Now, another tip is when you're thrifting and you see something you like, take it and put it in your cart, because if you walk away from something, there's a really good chance someone else is going to snag it. So as you can see, these are the items that I have selected. You can definitely tell that I have an eye, like, for my own particular style. Some of these things I'm not really interested in purchasing, but they're prime examples of how you guys can use them. Whether you want to build shrines, or you guys want to create really beautiful visuals and record them, or if you want to create ambiance and mood lighting for your house. Now, you guys are absolutely going to love this. Most people would look at this and say, that's just a crystal candle holder. But when I look at this, I see it as a foundation to create something epic. And think of all of these little tiny glass trinkets like Legos. Select the ones, thrift for the ones that speak to you the most, that are really appealing to you, and then use them like Legos and just start stacking them on top of each other. And eventually you'll come up with combinations where what was once a regular candle holder now looks like this really unique custom piece of glass that has a completely different energetic vibe to it. And you can use them in many different ways. One way is to put them on your altar. This is my altar at home, and you can see the left and right side of this altar are open. So I'm going to use these glass pieces like Legos, and I'm just going to start connecting them and stacking them on top of each other. And you'll notice that before too long, with little to no effort, just randomly grabbing at will and stacking them on top of each other, I start to create what appears to be just one cohesive, custom, unique glass piece. And if you guys have like the right lighting, these things really glow and look incredible in the dark, especially if you have like different lights shining on them. So that's one way you can use these. And if the altar or the shrine thing is not really your bag, well, then let's say you're like a videographer and you like to create really cool visuals. Well, put this on the left or right side of the video. You can use your camera phone, and then if you have a video editing program, just reflect it and you'll get something like this. Obviously, you know, I'm a wizard when it comes to this, so this is very elaborate, but you can see on the left and right side I've implemented the same advice, the same secrets that I just gave you. I have just got a candle holder and stacked a really unique piece of glass on top of it, and then stacked a really unique glass on top of that too. And then if you want to take it to a whole nother level and you want to create large cities of glass and you want to master how to cast shadows and light refractions simultaneously, then it's going to look something like this. And bear in mind, anyone can do this. All you have to do is film it on your phone and just know how to place these objects before you reflect them. Now this object, this is obviously something that will create a beautiful colored light refraction. As I mentioned before, if you can see through it, that's a really good implication that it's going to create a really beautiful light refraction. And if you want to see what it's going to do, make sure to bring your flashlight and then make sure the background is white so that you can see the full potential of what's going to happen with the light. Now, generally, you're going to be filming this or doing it in pitch black. So this is only a small example, but you can see how it creates this really beautiful hazy nebula in the background. And that object doesn't really appeal to me as much as this one does. Because that object was skinny, the light is going to go to the left and the right of it, versus when you shine a light at something like this, because it's wide, because it's larger, that means it's going to create more of a light refraction as opposed to just like a shadow of a light refraction. Now these two items are really good examples of objects that would cast amazing shadows. So see, we have a tree on the right, and then we have like this family dancing in a circle on the left. If we were to put this tree on a rotating base and then shine a light through it, it would create a beautiful rotating tree with a lot of depth on the wall. And the same thing would happen with this family. If we were to shine a light through them, they would cast a really amazing shadow of people dancing on the wall. And here's a really good example of how I use opaque objects to shine light through in order to cast shadows. This was an experiment that I did with objects to see how many shadows I could cast on the wall as opposed to light refraction. So you can see this cube here. This cube has like 4 different shadows because I had 4 different lights shining on it from 4 different angles. Now this is a really special piece, and I'm really disappointed that I didn't end up snagging this, but that just means something cooler is going to come. Notice how as I rotate it, so much happens. Like your eye almost can't pick up on everything that's happening because it's metallic color, because it's reflecting so much light. If I were to zoom in on this with my camera and only crop the design of this cup, it would look completely computer generated. You wouldn't even be able to tell what it was. And I used this piece of glass that I have to compare as a really good example of what I mean. So there's no way that you would be able to tell what this is. If I showed this to you, chances are you'd be like, wow, that's a really cool digital animation. It almost looks computer generated, but it's not. I just picked something that has a lot of texture, just like that cup just did, and I cropped it in the shot. And this is what it actually is. It's just a regular glass vase with a lot of texture. And because I filmed it from up close as it was rotating, there was so much going on that it looked computer generated. Okay, you guys are absolutely gonna love this. Here's Mr. Mustache Mug, and watch as I slide this hand closer to him. Watch how it almost appears as if that becomes his hand. Now if we line him up directly in the center of the camera, and then we reflect it, he will stay the same, but the hand will duplicate. And now it almost looks like he's saluting or he's got his hands up. And this is a really good example of something with a lot of reflective potential. And these are the types of things I want to teach you guys. This is the kind of stuff I want you guys to learn and how to have an eye for, so that when you go to the thrift store, you can come up with your own unique creations. Okay, watch, look at that beautiful sun. Whoa. God, that's so beautiful. That's why we're here. That's why we thrifted today. Because of what is possible with light. When you shine light through things, when you shine light on things, and here's this perfect validation, this beautiful sunlight just pulsing like our heartbeat. Absolutely love it. Womp, womp, womp. I hope you have been inspired today. Until next time, I'm Matt Worldly. This is Alien Wizard Science. Peace, love, and light refractions.